Hello and welcome to this first sublesson. In this sublesson, we will demonstrate how to download VirtualBox. I'll show you where to find it and how to download it, and we'll install it to Windows and also show an installation to Linux. Then we'll give a basic demonstration of how to navigate through VirtualBox. Here are some important links that you'll want to know about. We've got the VirtualBox download, which we're going to go to in a moment at virtualbox.org/wiki/downloads. But you should also check out the VirtualBox manual if you plan on using VirtualBox more, and that's at virtualbox.org/manual. Pay special attention to virtual networking in Chapter 6. Okay, so let's go to a Windows machine now. It's funny because this is a Linux course, but I'm starting off with some Windows here. And I've already gone to the VirtualBox website at virtualbox.org/wiki/downloads. And from here, you can grab VirtualBox, and you can see that the current version as of the recording of this video is 6.1.16. We can get it for Windows hosts, for Mac, for Linux, and Solaris. This is a Windows system, so we'll go to Windows hosts, we'll click it, and it'll download the executable right away. Okay, so that was a 103 megabyte download. If we click on the arrow here, we can open that up, and that'll prepare the installer, and it'll start it up. So we'll click next to start the install. And I'm just going to do default installation location to program files, Oracle VirtualBox. And we'll click next. We'll create all the start menu entries and a shortcut on the quick launch bar, and register file associations with this program. Now, if you're using another virtualization platform and you also want to make use of VirtualBox, then you may want to deselect register file associations. But if VirtualBox is the only program you're using, leave everything checkmarked, click next, and then start the installation. Now it tells you that will temporarily disconnect you from the network. And that's because it needs to check out the network interfaces and see what you have. That's okay. And we'll click yes to begin the installation. And install. Okay, so that's going to check the network connection. It's going to copy files. It's going to write information to the registry and so on. And that could take a couple of minutes, depends on the speed of your system. We're actually done already, and that was in real time. And we can start it right off the bat after the installation by clicking finish. And here it is down here. And VirtualBox is running. Welcome to VirtualBox. And if you want to run it later, you can go to Start and scroll down, and you'll go to Oracle and then VirtualBox. And you can add that, if you like, to your start menu, or to, I should say, to your taskbar, if you want to make it permanent down here, if you'll be accessing it a lot, which I think you will be in this course. So that's the VirtualBox installation on Windows, and let's show it on Linux. Okay, I've jumped over to a Linux computer. This is actually Debian Linux, and you can see I have the GNOME desktop here. And I've already opened up Firefox, and I've gone to virtualbox.org/wiki/downloads. So I'm back at the downloads page, and you can see all the platforms here that we can download the VirtualBox package for. We already did Windows. Mac OS is just as easy to install as it is for Windows. But here we have Linux distributions. So for those of you that are working on a Linux system, let's talk about this a little bit. Let's click on that, and that'll bring us to the various platforms that we can download for on Linux. We've got Oracle, Ubuntu, Debian, SUSE, Fedora, and all distributions. So we can do it for just about any version of Linux, any distribution of Linux. I'm running Debian 10, so I'm going to select that. So we'll show this as an example. So we'll click on that, and that's going to download this file, VirtualBox 6.1.16, for Debian Buster, which is Debian 10. And it will download it for AMD 64 by default, which is what I'm running, and it's a .deb file. So I'm going to save that file, click OK, and it's about 83 megabytes. Now we just need to go and install it. So let's open up a terminal so we can do the installation. from the command line. All right, I'm currently logged in as user. I'm going to elevate my privileges to root. So I'm going to type a su space dash and type in the root password because I need to install with the user account that has administrative privileges. Now I'm in as root at this system, and I'm going to move over to the directory where I downloaded VirtualBox. So let's take a look. We'll do a cd/home/user, because that's the user account that I downloaded as, /downloads. Press enter, and let's take a look in there. Here it is. Here's the download. So I'm going to install that now. Copy and paste that in. And we can install that by doing apt install // and paste in that name, VirtualBox, the .deb file. Press enter, and that's going to start the installation. We'll say Y for yes. And that'll go through the installation. It'll unpack it and install it, and we should be able to use it at that point. You'll notice it adds a group to Linux called VBox users. So if you have any user accounts that can't get access to VirtualBox for whatever reason, maybe they might need to be added to the group. Okay, and that might take a minute or two to complete the installation. And now it is done. We are good to go. So we can run this in a couple different ways. First of all, we can go to our applications and show all applications. And you can grab this from the end. Now that's not going to show up for the user account until you either log off and log back on or restart the system. Or we could run this from the terminal. So if you're logged in as user, you could just type VirtualBox, and then it runs. So either way, again, here's Oracle VirtualBox Manager. Welcome to VirtualBox. And then we can create virtual machines from here and do everything we need to do. And it's going to work in almost exactly the same manner as it would on Windows or Mac OS. The only differences are going to be the paths where you store your virtual machines. So that's it. A little bit about VirtualBox. Let's take a look through here real quick. First of all, if we go to File and go to Preferences, you'll see all the different settings that we can change here. General information, like where the default machine folder is. Input information. Language, display, what types of screen size you're going to use by default, the network connection, which we don't have yet for NAT networks. So we're going to show that in the upcoming sub-lesson, and so on. And if you want to create a virtual machine, you just go to Machine and go to New, and that'll start that setup for that virtual machine, whatever that virtual machine might be. Okay, and we'll create those virtual machines in the upcoming sub-lesson. So that's it. We've got VirtualBox installed to Linux. We also installed it to Windows. Really easy. And that's about it for this video.